Last we left our party, you had just released Riaz, the ancient blue dragon whose presence has been lost to the ages. As a few hours of panic swept over the city, the townsfolk that were still alive all began to make their way towards the mining courtyard. Following the commotion, the party found the civilians offering up tribute to Riaz, as she perched upon the now destroyed entrance to the mithril mines. Screaming children, hushed voices, and pouring rain, the party descended from their airship and made their way through the crowd toward the intimidating behemoth of a dragon. The party approached Riaz and tried to warn her of the growing evil to the west, with the intention of enlisting her to fight Grisot on your behalf. However, blue dragons are proud, stubborn, and most of all territorial. The party tried to persuade as best as they could, only to infuriate the beast. She even blew a hole through the town, killing dozens, and destroying several buildings sheerly out of dominance. If this Grisot wishes to take my land, let him try. You all have 3 days. 3 days until my next tribute. The party boarded their airship confused of which direction to take and decided to do some quick research back at the library. Searching around the now abandoned multi-tiered library, Ferron found the book on Riaz's history they had skimmed through a few days prior. While Ferron read, Gravulorn searched around for other texts and viable information. Ruhaha shifted his way into the top floor of the library and stole a tome of necromancy. Farron learned of the other ancient dragons, Kalthrak to the northeast, and Samiel to the south. Maybe one of these dragons can be of help. Gravulorn's search was a bust, but he noticed a consistent engraving on many of the books. Gravu. Ruhaha just got his shit and slipped back out the way he came. After exiting the library, Farron forgot about the warning Calvert gave him, and the historical book immolated in his hands. Also Relf killed an innocent child with a rock, for kicks. Regrouping, the party discussed their plan of action and decided to travel south in hopes that Samiel is still alive and can help the party. About 2 days of travel passed as they began to journey southward over the expansive wasteland. Urza crafted a single-use sending stone and reached out to their former party member, Brutmal. Technically that's not how sending stones work, but it works for the narrative, so fuck it. He informed him of the party's circumstance, their journey south, and how Grisot was planning on bringing hell to earth and destroying the material plane. Another day passed, and around midday, the party heard noises. An ethereal crack shot through the space as these vistas, tall monstrosities appeared. And in great numbers, as a fight broke out, 2 massive bulbous creatures emerged and cast mass hold monster on the party. One by one, the monstrosities grabbed hold of the party members and teleported away into nothingness. Before Paquetta was whisked away, a familiar voice grew in her head. Grisot. Grisot had been watching her for weeks and saw her growing distrust. He informed her that she and her friends are being sent away to think about their wrongdoings. Now here's where things got weird. Gravi saved against the mass hold person, and Ruhaha is immune to mind-altering effects. They fled and managed to escape captivity. The next day I looked at the list of mind-altering effects, and paralysis is not one of them. He is just immune to charm, magical or otherwise, but regardless, good for you too. That fucked me up for a little bit. I ended up taking you guys with, because that'd be pretty beat if the whole party was completely separated for the rest of the session. After what felt like moments of nothingness, you all began to awake, finding yourselves stripped of all possessions, bound and shackled by heavy chains and manacles. A strange device wrapped around the face and neck of all of you to muffle your speech. It is deathly cold. Each of you were confined separately in a massive tower filled with hundreds of cells. With the ability to teleport silently, Farron and Relf escaped their confines and exited their cells. As Relf ripped off the face shackle thing, the noise alerted the tower's keepers. Huge creatures with 6 long gangly arms and a large bulbous head covered in eyes. Like the boss in Bloodborne, the amygdala. The rest of the party attempted to free themselves from their confines. Gravi and his 26 decks managed to slip out of the manacles fairly easily. Paquetta struggled and eventually gave up after hearing her freed party members. Ruhaha didn't move in his cage. A severe pain thrummed in his chest after having his necklace removed. Urza struggled to free himself only to have his right forearm break in several places within the magical shackle. Fuck. As Relf fought this keeper, Farron used darkness and slowly helped free Gravi. Before the cell was opened, another keeper crept up behind Farron, smelled him, and proceeded to move on. Its demeanor seemed familiar with Farron. As the final blow was given, Relf killed the keeper and watched its corpse fall down the tower. The 3 escaped party members released the rest of the party from their confines. Gravulorn even managed to disable 2 of the face masks and hold on to them. When the party went down to free Crumbold from his cell, they found that he had already freed himself by breaking the chains which held his shackles. But he insisted to put on the shackles again so he can, quote, equip the chains and move around like Doc Ock from Spider-Man. So he now has 2 15-foot chains that he can use as weapons or for movement. The party carefully descended the seemingly endless tower. Paquetta took it upon herself to look into the cages as the party descended. There is a slightly familiar creature shackled and restrained. A tall female form, large wings, heat radiating from her cell. The Eranis the party had fought 11 years ago while on their way to retrieve Crumbold's sword. She recognized them as well, showing pity, and understanding the use of a devil could come in handy. The party freed her. She informed them that she had been locked here for 9 years. Sekretov placed her here. With their newfound ally, the party continued down the tower. It seemed endless, but Farron and Gravulorn could see the bottom. They guided the rest of the party past the enchantment and made it to the bottom. A large iron door stood before them. Beyond stood a massive torture chamber, filled with implements, decay, poisons, blades, etc., as well as a constant blood-curdling screaming. You decided to rest here, and find what you could to make a splint for Urza's arm. Moving forward, you found a screaming and thrashing titan encircled by pillars with some sort of helmet on. A few brave party members entered the ring of pillars to find an illusion of a raging sandstorm with this titan thrashing on the ground in agony. They managed to take the helmet off, and within an instant, the illusion was broken, the screaming stopped, and the titan was dead. Continuing forward, you exited the torture chamber into a freezing cold grand hall with polished nearly mirror-like black floors and a massive 100-arched ceiling with balconies of different floors poking out overhead. The party decided to walk to the right down the hall, honestly the easier path. To the left down the hall, you found a room marked with engravings that stated, "Wealth and riches lay before, extravagant perfection. Take what isn't rightly yours, be bound to my collection." Entering, you guys found an expanse of gold, silver, gems, trinkets, weapons, armors, riches, artwork, furniture, you name it. Massive piles of valuables standing nearly 20 feet high with a trench-like pathway running through the center. Paquetta rolled on my random encounter table and found a creature frozen solid, made entirely of gold. Taking caution, the party searched for anything familiar until you guys eventually found your things, except for Ruhaha's necklace. But no one turned to gold, no one died. Easy puzzle room, y'all ain't stupid. You exited back to the massive, cold, nearly luminous hall and continued to the right. The temperature seemed to grow colder still as the party eventually made it to the end of the grand hall. An enormous throne room lay ahead. As the party entered the dark vast area, a shrill grinding voice echoed through the chamber. Morberus, I have what you seek. Morberus. The party made their way towards the center of the throne room where a 35-foot-tall skeletal form sat upon a black iron throne. A mighty scythe to its side, and a hand up, clutching Brouhaha's necklace between two fingers. The voice called out again. Morberus. The party stayed quiet as Brouhaha stepped forward to collect his necklace. It seems this godlike skeletal entity knew Morberus, Secretov's once mortal self, as he taunted. Your breathing is heavy. I can feel your soul weakening. Brouhaha grabbed the necklace and immediately put it back on. The introduced itself as Nerul, the god of death. Agathis, his home. He raised the scythe, opening the grandiose entrance to the throne room. Immediately the chill hit the party. The vast expanse beyond was so cold. Crumbold, Relf, and Ferrin ran to shut the door, preventing the party from freezing to death. The party asked this deity how to get home. With a slow, delicate gesture of his scythe, a huge salamander rose from the ground, completely aflame. 25 feet long, standing 8 feet to the shoulder. The creature began to walk. As the doors opened again, the heat coming off of the beast held the chill at bay. Onward into the expanse of nothing but black ice, the party followed the creature as it slowly marched forward. Marching for 28 days. For 28 days. No mountains, no life, no sun, no stars, nothing. Until, on the 28th day, the party found an altar with a stone circle built atop. The salamander crawled into the circle, melding its form into some form of portal within this shrine. As the party stepped through, is where we left off. I'm excited, guys. Let's do some good ol' dingle in and the dangle in.